Do you see how beautiful the world is? How can you see it without light?
My name is Ibrahim Ali. I'm from the Department of Special Education.
Visually impaired isn't the right term, but rather sight impaired. Ali is an exception to this.
I come from Boko. I'm a native of Boko, but currently I stay in Kumasi, in Ashanti region. I'm blind from birth.
As an individual, you need light. We perceive light at all times. Immediately you cannot perceive light. We term you as a blind person.
I'm someone who is versatile. What I say versatile means that is all the things that I can. I have basic knowledge in everything that I think I can do. I'm somebody who loves music, so when I was in Ekopon, I used to join the school band. We've been playing for almost 3 to 4 years, and under my leadership too, we had a cultural troupe instrument over there, of which I was the student leader over there, and I was also an assistant entertainment prefect back at campus. So I think this and other things are things that make me a little bit very.
How can someone without eyes do an activity like this? Ali is an exception to this. Ali uses many common aids of the blind speaking software from the computer so that he can jot down things.
My name is Rafia and I'm a friend to Ali, and he's a co-tenant of me. I don't think there's anything bad about him. He's very humorous and he's so friendly that I always want to be with him. He's a fun type. He's so lovely. He's just a good person.
Let me see that. See your what?
Vision is for those who see. Ali has been part of these visionaries. His story from childhood hasn't been easy.
We were sighted, even though I'm born blind, but I didn't go to the blind school street. But I started from Unity International School. There I moved to St. Paul's International School. Then from then I have to engage myself in the Arabic recitation, which is the Makaranta. But what even made I even stopped school for 6 years, more than 6 years before I started again. And what made me stop school is that from the beginning I was able to pick up things, but as learning is always in a progressive way, I was finding things very difficult because when they teach me how to use to write something with a print, we're then dealing with the alphabet, I'll be able to memorize it and get the concept all right. But once they write it and bring it, that is where the problem lies. I wouldn't be able to read. So I was just there when a woman came to tell us that there are some people who have come to Bodim Konta, the hospital over there in Kumasi, to just have a look at to come and check eye, that the eye specialist, the ophthalmologist. So they came and I just chanced on that. I went there. Upon diagnosing, they didn't see anything wrong with the eyes. The eyes look just not as normal as everybody's own could look at.
In Ghana, 4 out of 10 people suffer from serious visual impairment, with many types which we don't know. The trauma hospital will give us more idea on that.
For the types, we have the functional and the measurements. And under the functional, we have some types under the functional. We have social blindness, educational blindness, legally blind. Then the measurements, as I had already mentioned, it has to do with you being able to perceive measurements. When we take the various types or the causes of blindness, let me put it, if one is born with glaucoma, as in juvenile or congenital glaucoma, you are born with it. It means you had glaucoma at birth. And if the severity is high, it means you are going blind at a very tender age. Or even when a woman is pregnant or at prenatally, within intrauterine, we have things that even causes during development. If the development does not take place well, you can even go blind even before you are born, prenatally. And even if as a result of birth too, you can even get blind. Yes. And as other things can come into play, as in when you get accidents, you are involved in RTA, you can also go blind as a result. Acid poured on your eyes. There are varied causes or reasons for.
Life stories of the sight impaired has been amazing. According to CNN.com, when Peter started going blind, he decided to channel his feelings of loss into art. In his 20s at the time, Eckert would spend many days preparing graphite drawings and woodcut before asking his wife to describe the result to him. So in search of a more instantaneous medium, he found his hand into photography.
Areas, first of all, I'm average in all that I could do. When it comes to sporting activity like this, I can skip very well. I can do the sack racing. I can do the three-legged race. When it comes to music, for instance, I can play the conga small, the drums a bit, the keyboard small, then the flute. As for the flute, I have mastered over there. In music too, let's also not forget that there are branches in music. I mean categories of types of music. I'm also good in I am also average with the cultural drumming, the instrument. I mean to say the kete, the palugo, the adwa, the kete, palugo, adwa. I'm average in those things. And when it comes to ICT, I can do installation. I can build PowerPoint slides. I have small knowledge in navigating through the internet. I have knowledge in troubleshooting. I have basic knowledge in troubleshooting. Yeah.
The boys are not all there. Goro boys will be able to move.
You should play a love song for me. Or Shroya. I mean, you don't know the one you like. Is it that Shroya or me? I don't even know.
You are the one. Shroya has given me what you call the
it's a virus laptop.
Oh, this boy. Thing is,
why are these people attacking me this morning?
We are attacking because we need to be attacked.
No.
It
is not the laptop I used to win.
Play this song for me. What is it? The one we were playing yesterday.
Awesome.
Mapa so
Oh, that guy is really good. If you are sad, he can make you very happy. He's a guy that is not so dependent on people. He has his own conscience. He's a man of his own words. When you attack us, he will defend. He will not only defend for himself. If you see and you say he's disabled, my friend, he will disgrace you. He's talented. He knows what he's about.
Blindness generally is the inability to see, and it is where a person cannot perceive light. Therefore, you are unable to see anything. And the types, for blindness you may not have types, but for visual impairment you may have types. That is where you have those who are blind and those who are low vision. Those who are blind are those who are unable to use their sight for academic work or for educational purposes. But those who are low vision are able to use their sight for reading, for academic work, with some support, like a lensed spectacle or some magnifiers and other assistive devices. So we have the low vision and then the blind under what we call visual impairment.
The brain is connected, the eye is connected to the brain, so the two of them work hand in hand. Immediately there is a break in either of them, especially connected to the eye, that is when there is a problem.
Landmarks, wayfinding, symbols to help the blind has been some of the challenges the friends of Ali are facing, and Ali himself.
A lot. If you are to mention of it now, the day will break. We will not finish. One, we don't have textbooks. And also, aside that one too, I think that is the major challenge that we have, lack of textbook to just use to facilitate our learning. And anytime you want to read to, you have to get a sighted person to come and be reading for you. Now, he cannot spell everything from the book from A to Z. You have to also feel it as the sighted see what is there. You also have to feel what is there so that you get the right concept of it. You cannot ask him to spell right from the beginning of the word up to the end of the word. He himself will get frustrated. And two, even before you get a person, it's also something on its own, because sometimes you call on your friend to come and help you do some reading. And you know, as we don't know each other's shadows, you call and the person is away from you, what will you do? And sometimes we consider the time, the time and the distance factor. On a person realize that where he is a little far from where you are, and you have to travel all along from where he is to where you're supposed to reach you. You know, it will seem a little bit disheartening to the fellow, in the sense that will even scare him from coming to your place. But when he comes, he's already.
Challenges rise in almost every unit where you find yourself in different parts or aspects of life. And in the work that we do too, we also face challenges. Some challenges are the uncooperative attitude of some lecturers. Some of them are very cooperative and then they understand us. So when we put in a request that is aimed at supporting the students, they understand. Some of them too do not cooperate that much to the extent that will help us successfully work with them. Again, logistics is also part. The increased number of the students requires maybe increasing the number of assistive devices and other things. But the university, or we lack some of these things. Although we are aware that the university is also doing its best to ensure that we get maximum number of these support devices or assistive devices, so that all
You're wondering how the blind see. Well, any part of the body that gets destroyed channels its particular strength to other places, especially with the blind. When they lose sight, other parts of the body get so censored. So with their hands, they get this sensor. With anything that they touch, they feel the texture and able to record it in their memory.
You know, when they are blind, it's like power is drawn from somewhere to another side. Other senses become more active. So now their power is in their hands. Aside being blind, the mind is at work. The fingers or the hands are able to play a major role in terms of walking, touching, feeling things. When they feel something, they'll be able to tell you, this is what I'm feeling. Yes.
With respect to the blind, I do ask myself these questions. Do they see anything when they dream? Especially with those who are born by it. Are they able to recognize a color? Or are they able to see that this is a tree? Or this or that? Wow.
If someone who is totally blind, they will have something, they perceive things. If you are blind at birth, before as you grow, you are able to interact with nature very well. So with that, they are able to pick things with their senses. But if I get blind at a point in my life or at a stage in life, with that, you may be able to even perceive color, because you know how red looks like, you know how blue looks like. So when I even close my eyes, I have that one in my mind's eye. You have a picture of that in. Don't forget, the brain and the mind is still at work. So with that, you have that picture of them in the mind. That's why a blind man can easily tell you this is the color of the dress you are putting on, or can identify.
You know, there are some people, they acquired it later in life, and such people, it's not easy for them, what do you call, accepting the condition in which they find themselves. But what I want to say is, in this world that we are, we can't get things all the way we want it to be. If it had been so, then I don't think many of us here would have wished to be under this scorched sun. Would have preferred being in somewhere US, enjoying, taking salad and whatever it is. But I always say that the aeroplane is always the safer place for the ground. The ground itself is the best place, best and the safe place for the aeroplane. But it is always not designed for that. So what I would say to the people out there is that whichever way you find yourself, you have to adjust to the situation and try to cope up with things. No condition is ever permanent.